Hey, hello, my beloveds. Good to see you. So here's the deal. Today we're going to talk about how we can endure all the things that have happened, are happening, and are about to happen, because it's a lot. I know I've said that in the past couple of videos, but I want to talk about why I think I am the way I am today and all the things that are happening, because the Father's shown me something regarding intentionality in what I'm doing. Intentionality is, I don't want to call it a lost art, but when you have met people who are intentional. They could be intentional in their diet, like they're intentionally carnivore, for example, and they're staying away from sugar and processed foods and breads, and you can see they look healthy, they look strong. People are intentional in their discipline of working out. You can tell by how they walk. Everything about them it just has strength and confidence and kind of peace, because when you're lifting weights, you're a different type of person. There's a peace that comes out of that. There's a joy, actually, an attitude that comes through the discipline of lifting weights. I'm a big believer. People are intentional about making sure they get enough water. And you can see that in their skin, that they drink water as opposed to everything else. The majority of their intake is water. Well, I want to talk about my personal intentionality. Now, I've been intentional with fasting, and I try to fast at least 5 days out of every month, and at the most just 10 days, not at a time, like 5 days at the beginning, 5 days at the end. And that's been a big deal for me in regards to my emotional, mental, and physical and spiritual health. Did I say both? All those. Fasting is a big deal. But what's been the payoff, right? The payoff is this. My confidence in the Lord is growing by leaps and bounds every day. Seeking the kingdom first. I take communion. I try to take it daily, if not 10 times a day, if I can. And I'm not using wine. I'm not drinking wine 10 times a day. I'll use water, grape juice if I have it, wine if there's a bottle open, but hardly happens. Anyway, what's the payoff of that? Well, I do think the Father's eyes are looking back and forth for a heart that is for him, that he may encourage it. For me, there's nothing more important than being intentional with my relationship with the Father, because you know what? Let's boil it down. I want power. I want power. I want the power to overcome everything that's happening for myself, for my family. But even I was having a discussion with somebody today at a random place, and I brought to the game incredible wisdom for them. And it was healing for them. They're like, oh my gosh, I was talking about words. This person had a mouthful of very negative words and complaining and judging, and they're a believer. And I lovingly said to them, do you know that you'll be held accountable for every idle word that you say? Because I want you to understand, when you are born again, it is Christ who lives. You no longer live, but Christ lives in you. But you still have free will. You have something incredibly, you have the altar of Christ, the blood of Christ alive within you. And then when you idly speak words that are judgmental, bitter, angry, when you speak these words, you're causing damage. And you're going to be held responsible. As you judge, ye shall be judged. The same measure you put on others will be measured upon you. It's like, shut up. You want to listen, unless you open your mouth to speak a blessing, speak hope, kindness, wisdom. And for me, that was a rebuke, but it was out of love. It wasn't out of judgment, because I get it. I've been there. I mean, boy, have I been there. And I praise God for his grace and mercy that he still allows me to open my mouth. I remember when the hormonal times between my daughters and myself is, man, I used to ask the Father that he would sew my lips shut. That if I really, really, really had to say something, it would literally cause me pain to open up my mouth. So it better be important. We serve a redeeming God. And I've gone to the cross and I've gone to my daughters and said, I am sorry. Will you forgive me? The onus is on them to forgive. But for each of us, there's none of us that are perfect. There's no perfect mother, father, kid. There's no one perfect. We're all being continually pursued by the enemy. He stalks us. He's a lion waiting to pounce on us. This drives me to my intentionality. Going to the kingdom first thing in the morning, hearing his word, saying, good morning, Father. I speak in tongues. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm telling you, my own miracle in that is, I remember I wasn't looking to speak in tongues. It wasn't really a part of our church. They didn't promote it where I went to. They didn't speak against it. I didn't even know. I had no idea about it when the gift came in. I mean, I understood that there was something called tongues, but anyway, I had a daughter that she had been diagnosed with this incurable skin disease. It was gnarly. She had all these blisters and welts on her back, and it was not good. And the doctor was like, oh, holy crap. And she's a little 5-year-old girl, just a baby, right? It was from her neck all the way down to her waist, just on her back. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And my husband was gone. He's up in Alaska. And I finally, the medicine, they said there's no way this cream that was prescribed to us was impossible to get. And they didn't have it. All I had was like something to help her sleep. So I gave her something to help her sleep. She's laying on her tummy, and I went to go look up the skin disease, and there's no cure for it unless you buy this miracle lotion. It's $100 a month for 3 years. And let's be honest, I don't know. I still don't know what happened. But I can tell you, as I went and I got down on my knees, and she's asleep on her belly, and I put my hand on the back of her head and her legs, and I'm a brand new baby Christian back then. And I began to pray and go, I go, Father, I don't know how to pray. I've got so many people that they're losing their homes, their marriages or this, and they're diagnosed with that, and so many problems. I'm like, I don't know how to pray. And I'm desperate for it. I want to know how to pray. And all of a sudden out of my mouth came all of these words. Well, that was cool in itself. I'm like, what's happening? I went from that, and it's funny because I tried to email my husband in tongues. Because I wonder if I can type in tongues, Well, to make the story extraordinary is this. She woke up the next morning completely healed. Completely healed. And that was the beginning of my experience of that. So now, the intentionality that I have is waking up in the morning. I pray. I find out when I pray in English about things that I'm anxious about, it's an anxious prayer. It's a prayer out of fear or uncertainty. And it kind of adds to the negative way that I'm feeling. But when I speak in tongues, it's just straight communication, straight to the Father. There's a lot of people. I'm not going to teach you about it. I'm just going to tell you that's what I do. You may disagree with it. God bless you. You're a big deal still, but I don't care. All I know is I do. And very cool things happen when I do. So that's my intentionality. And I'm finding that the more I seek the kingdom, the more that it's like, too much is given, much is required. I have been given every day. It's like I'm walking up these concrete foundational stairs, if you will, that's bringing me to a whole new level of faith, whole new level of hope, whole new level of power. Because my prayers are being answered in incredible ways, and I want that for you. So be intentional with me. Get that power and do something with it, because he loves you enough to offer it to you. Why? Because you're kind of a big deal. All right, God bless you.